Hi, I'm Amber, welcome back to Cat Reads, and today I'm going to share with you my 5 film reviews. This is pretty self-explanatory, it's just my way of balancing out video length, and hopefully that my plan has succeeded and this isn't a super long video. This video could be considered a 6th film review because I do have a 6th film, but the only reason why I'm talking about it is because I did want to bring it out there and hopefully get feedback on it. But I didn't really finish it and I wouldn't have talked about it otherwise. So the film that I'm talking about is Chappy. This is a futuristic caper that chronicles the adventures of Chappy, a humanoid robot who's kidnapped barely after being created and incorporated into an already off-of-beat family. Like I said, I did not finish this film, and it really felt weird watching Hugh Jackman in this role. It was just strange, and I couldn't really place why it bothered me because he did a good job, but at the same time this isn't a role that I normally see him in. It's super weird, so I just didn't know what to think of him and how his character was, and him playing that kind of character, and is what he did good? I don't know. It was just an overall really weird film, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like the whole robot thing that they were doing, and I don't know. It was kind of boring, kind of weird, kind of crazy. There was moments where I was really laughing out loud, especially the car robbing moment, and that was like the best part of the film. What I would say, and what I believe, is that you have to be really into AI type films. If you're not, this is probably not going to be for you, because it certainly wasn't for me, and I'm not 100% a fan of AI type films. It just was a really big miss for me, and I was really looking forward to watching this, and I think it's just because I went into it expecting something different than what the synopsis led me to believe. You tell me down below if you watched this film and what you thought of it, and maybe you can tell me if you had issues with it or if you really liked it, and try to convince me to rewatch it if you have watched it and liked it. And now on to the actual 5 film review, with the first film being Exodus: Gods and Kings, starring Christian Bale. This is a retelling of the Moses story. In preparing for this video, I was reading some reviews for this film because I was looking at the synopsis and stuff like that. But in reading the reviews, I heard that supposedly this isn't supposed to be an exact retelling, that it was meant to be very loosely told, like whatever. I have issues with anyone taking a story and then changing it to the point that it doesn't even resemble the original. I mean, I understand that it's not supposed to be a direct retelling, and I get it, but it bothered me because it's just that I always feel like you have to have respect for the original story, and I'm not even sure if you can consider this respectful to the original story. And I don't know, I just had issues with it. I like when they're going to retell the story that they at least keep true to the core storyline, and that they don't alter it to the point that you can't even see the original story. The thing is, if it hadn't been a retelling, or even loosely a retelling, I would have enjoyed this film. It's the kind of film that's right up my alley. I really liked Christian Bale on this, and I like the fact that they gave a nod to Ben Kingsley just by casting him in this one, because he played Moses in the film called Moses. And if you want a really good retelling of the Moses story, go check that one out, because that was really good and it stuck true to the actual story. That being said, it wasn't what I wanted, nor was I expecting. The synopsis doesn't tell you that it was loosely based on it. It says it's a retelling, which to me makes me think that I'm gonna get an actual retelling of the Moses story, which therefore I shouldn't be getting such drastic changes to the core storyline. In the end, I had to give this 2 stars. I also picked up The November Man, starring Pierce Brosnan. This is about Peter Devereaux, who retired from the CIA. He's living peacefully in his own world, and then he's reeled back into the CIA to help with a critical covert case. But in taking on this assignment, he gets reeled into a conflict between the US and Russia. I was entertained in the moment of watching this, but as I was thinking about it after I had finished it, I realized that this is not as good and it wasn't as entertaining as I had thought it was going to be, or had thought in that moment. The thing about this is that watching Pierce Brosnan was nice, but I'm thinking about him playing this role is that it's very much the same for him, and he kind of gets a bit lazy with it. I just didn't really care for him playing this role, especially since he plays these kind of roles all the time now. And so I didn't care for that. I also thought that the story was just kind of boring, slow, and even the action fighting scenes were boring. Everything just fell flat for this film, including Pierce Brosnan, which is the hugest disappointment for me in this film. Therefore, I had to give The November Man 2 stars. Next, we have The Finest Hours, which I went to see in the theaters with my mom. This is based on a true story, and I absolutely enjoyed it. It's really beautifully filmed, it's engaging, it's thrilling, and I really just loved Chris Pine and the supporting actors in this. I think especially Chris Pine really surprised me. I wasn't expecting a lot out of him, and he did an amazing job. His character is kind of shy and awkward, and he really just took on that character and became him, and just watching him be so determined to rescue those people was amazing. And this story is very touching and moving. And the other thing that I really enjoyed about this film, and I think that the theater experience enhanced my enjoyment of it, was watching the moments when they're on the ocean and just the crazy crashing waves, and those moments when they have to go over them, and the way they handled it and the way they shot those moments was amazing. And so in the end, I had to give The Finest Hour 5 stars. I also picked up The Fault in Our Stars, starring Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort. This is about Hazel, a teenager who's avoided any kind of friendships or relationships because of her cancer diagnosis, but then she reluctantly joins a support group where she meets Gus, and they start bonding with each other. This up, I was hoping that it would smudge a lot of the issues I had with the book, which I absolutely did not like. I really did not like how John Green made these characters sound more adult than they should have. No average kid, not even when they're dealing with cancer, is going to have that kind of talk. They sounded more like college to past college age people, and I didn't really appreciate that. Also, I didn't really appreciate the romance, which didn't make any sense to me, and I don't really care the fact that they have cancer or not. It doesn't make sense no matter what. You can put on, well, you know, they are going to fall into relationships faster because of that, but Hazel was keeping her distance from people from the beginning, so why would this person make her just jump in like that? No, it wouldn't have made her do that. It will probably make her even slow down further because of the fact that she knows that she likes him. It just kind of bothered me, that whole oversight. So in watching this, I was hoping that those issues would be smudged, but they weren't. This film was like a complete replicate of the book, and I really didn't like Shailene Woodley or Ansel Elgort in this film. And actually, I believe this was Ansel Elgort's debut, and I didn't really like him, so I don't really know if my dislike for either of them in this film was because I didn't like the story or what, but I didn't think that it really worked. And Shailene Woodley is pretty average for me, so I didn't really expect a huge amount from her, but I did expect her to be good on some level, and I just didn't think that either one of them did good in their roles, and there was really no chemistry between them, and overall it was just a huge disappointment. So therefore I had to give The Fault in Our Stars 1 star. Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and Michael Douglas. This is a pretty straightforward film. You know where it's going to go, and you don't go into watching this film without that knowledge. This is super entertaining. I loved the humor, and the story was so fleshed out. The characters were pretty fleshed out. It was just a super entertaining, enjoyable funny film that I absolutely loved. I thought Paul Rudd was amazing, and it was really nice to see Michael Douglas in something else again. For I gave Ant-Man 4 stars. Those are the 5-ish films that I had to talk about today. Tell me down below if you watched any of these. I would love to discuss them with you. I would also love to hear what you've been watching lately. What's been your favorite, least favorite film so far? Thank you all so much for watching, and keep smiling.